When you stop caring, that's when everything changes. People don't realize your worth when you're always there, always answering, always giving. They take your kindness and turn it into expectation. They assume you'll never walk away because you've been showing up no matter how little they gave in return. But the moment you stop, when your energy no longer bends towards them, when your silence replaces your constant reassurance, that's when they feel the weight of what they've lost. It's not your absence that hurts them. It's the absence of your attention, your energy, your wants. They suddenly notice how cold the world feels without the light you once poured into them. They replay moments in their mind, realizing how much they overlooked, how much they took for granted, how much they assumed would always belong to them. And that realization eats away at them because deep down, they know they pushed you there. People mistake love for weakness. They see compassion as something they can toy with, as if you will always forgive, always stay, always give another chance. But when you decide you've had enough, when your heart closes and your energy protects itself, that's when their illusion shatters. They realize that you were the one who brought peace into the chaos, the one who listened when nobody else did, the one who made them feel seen when the world ignored them. And now they're left with emptiness because the very person they thought they could neglect is the one person they now crave. Understand this. Your silence is louder than your words. Your distance teaches lessons your presence never could. When you stop caring, you show them what life looks like without your love. That is the greatest regret they'll ever carry. So stop giving pieces of yourself to people who don't see the treasure in your presence. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. The day you stop caring is the day you reclaim your power. And that is the day they realize they lost something they will never find again. People will never truly realize the value of consistency until it disappears. You see, when you are always there, when you answer the call no matter what, when you put aside your own needs just to make sure someone else feels supported, it becomes invisible to them. They grow so used to your presence, so used to your reliability, that they stop noticing it altogether. It's like air, always there, always sustaining them, but never appreciate it until it's gone. And this is where the tragedy lies. You gave so much of yourself that it became normal, expected, taken for granted. They didn't stop to think about what it cost you. The late nights, the emotional energy, the sacrifices you made quietly in the background, the way you set aside your own feelings just to hold space for theirs. To them, it looked effortless, as if you would always show up no matter what. And that's the dangerous thing about being consistent. They start to think you'll never leave. They begin to believe that your care has no limit, that your loyalty has no boundary. And so they stop treating it as something rare, something to be grateful for. Instead, it becomes something they assume will always be there. But then one day, something inside of you shifts. You realize that your consistency has turned into their entitlement. You realize that your kindness has become an expectation, not a blessing. And slowly, you begin to pull away. You stop answering right away. You stop pouring into them with the same intensity. You stop making their needs a priority above your own. And in that moment, they feel the absence. For the first time, they notice how heavy silence feels. For the first time, they realize how much comfort your presence used to bring them. For the first time, they understand that what they had was not ordinary, it was extraordinary, and they wasted it. Regret hits people the hardest when it comes too late. And it always comes too late. They will remember the messages you sent when they needed encouragement. They will remember the way you stayed on the phone just to keep them company. And this is the cruel irony of human nature. We often recognize the value of something only once it's gone. They regret it instantly because your consistency was their safety net. It was the quiet assurance that someone in this world truly cared. And when you take that away, they are forced to face the emptiness they ignored before. They are forced to sit in the silence that your presence used to fill. And in that silence, regret grows louder and louder, echoing in their mind, reminding them of all the ways they failed to appreciate you. But here's the truth. You didn't lose anything. They did, because consistency is not something you owe. Consistency is a gift. It is love in its purest form. It is saying, I will show up for you even when it's inconvenient, even when I'm tired, even when I don't feel like it. And when someone disrespects that, when they take it for granted, you are under no obligation to continue giving it. Protecting your energy, pulling back your care, choosing yourself, that is not weakness, that is power. That is the moment You realize that your loyalty is not free, your love is not cheap, and your consistency is not infinite. The day you stop being consistent for people who don't value it is the day you rise. You stop chasing validation. You stop proving your worth. You stop being the safety net for those who never cared about the weight you were carrying. And in that space, you finally create room for yourself. You realize that consistency should not flow to those who neglect it. It should flow to you, to your dreams, to the people who actually see it and appreciate it. So when you stop being consistent with people who don't deserve it, don't feel guilty. Don't question if you were too cold, too distant, too harsh. You weren't. You simply gave yourself permission to stop pouring into a cup that refused to hold anything. And in that moment, you reclaimed your power. You taught them a lesson their regret will never let them forget. Silence is the most powerful language you will ever speak. It's the voice people cannot ignore because it forces them to confront themselves. Words can be argued with, explained away, twisted into something they were never meant to be. But silence? Silence has no excuses attached to it. It has no explanations, no loopholes. It is the raw truth delivered without sound, and that truth pierces deeper than any argument ever could. When you choose silence over reaction, you shift the balance of power. People who have been so used to your constant engagement suddenly find themselves facing a void. They expect you to chase, to explain, to fight for your place, because that is what you've always done. But when you stop, when you let the silence do the speaking, that is when the discomfort begins. They start questioning everything. Why aren't they answering? Why aren't they reacting? Why aren't they giving me the attention I thought I was entitled to? That quiet space eats away at them more than any confrontation ever could. Silence exposes people. It shows them what their actions truly mean without you spelling it out. When you refuse to engage, they are left alone with their own choices. They are forced to see the reflection of their behavior in the mirror of your absence. And that is terrifying for someone who never thought twice about how they treated you. Because as long as you were speaking, they could deflect. As long as you were explaining, they could dismiss. As long as you were arguing, they could twist the narrative. But silence leaves no room for deflection. It is a verdict delivered without a single word. And it's not just about punishing others. Silence is also a gift you give to yourself. It's the act of reclaiming your energy, of refusing to waste your breath on those who refuse to hear you. It's stepping away from the chaos and realizing that you don't need to fight to be understood. You don't need to keep repeating yourself to someone who has already made the choice not to value your voice. Your silence becomes your boundary, your silence becomes your protection, and in that space of quiet, you find peace again. Silence makes them face their own regret. They start replaying all the times they dismissed your feelings, all the times they ignored your needs, all the times they chose their pride over your loyalty. They remember the look in your eyes when you were still trying, still giving, still caring. And now that you're silent, they realize how much they lost by not listening when you spoke. Regret becomes the companion of your silence, whispering into their ear, reminding them that they pushed you into this distance. But here's the part that matters most. Silence is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is not avoidance. It is strength. It takes courage to hold your tongue when your ego wants to scream. It takes self-control to choose peace over chaos. It takes wisdom to know that your energy is too sacred to be wasted on ears that are closed. Silence is the moment you prove to yourself that you no longer need validation from anyone else, that you are no longer dependent on their acknowledgement, that you no longer crave to be understood by those who never cared to try. When you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, no one can control you anymore. People will regret the day you stop engaging, because that's when they realize the access they had was rare. They will miss your words, your attention, your willingness to explain. But when they mistake that kindness for weakness, that's when they cross a line. They believe your silence means you can't speak up. They believe your forgiveness means you'll always accept mistreatment. They believe your patience means you'll never walk away. And so they keep pushing. They test your boundaries. They take advantage of your love. And they expect that no matter what they do, you'll continue to show up. But they forget one thing. Kind people are not weak people. Kind people are the strongest ones of all. Because it takes incredible strength to keep loving, in a world that constantly tries to harden you. It takes courage to show up with softness when you've been hurt. It takes resilience to give again after being taken for granted. The problem is when you constantly show that strength through kindness, others stop seeing it as strength. They only see the surface. They only see the fact that you're still there, still answering, still forgiving. They don't notice the battles you fight internally just to keep choosing kindness. And so they misjudge you. They think they can manipulate you, drain you, control you. But here's the truth. When a kind person finally decides they've had enough, there is nothing more powerful than that moment. Because once you take your kindness back, once you stop giving chances, once you draw a line and say no more, there is no going back. People never see it coming because they thought you'd always bend. They thought you'd always compromise. They thought your softness meant you didn't know your own worth. But when you finally stop, when you pull away, when you cut off the access they thought they were entitled to, that's when they realize the strength behind your kindness. They realize you were never weak. You were never naive. You simply chose to be gentle until the day they gave you no choice but to be firm. And when that day comes, the regret they feel is overwhelming because losing the kindness of someone like you is not a small loss. It's a wound that never heals.
Kindness is not something people can easily replace. Anyone can give attention for a short while, but not everyone can show up consistently with genuine care. Anyone can speak sweet words, but not everyone can back them with patience, forgiveness, and love. What you offered was rare. What you gave was valuable. And when people abuse that, when they cross the line, when they drain the very love you gave so freely, they only set themselves up for regret. Because no matter how many people they turn to afterward, no one else will give them the kind of loyalty and softness you did.
And you need to understand this deeply. You are not weak for being kind. You are not foolish for forgiving. You are not naive for giving people chances. What makes you weak is staying when you know they don't value you. What makes you naive is believing that their actions will change when they keep showing you the same patterns. What makes you foolish is thinking your endless kindness will one day teach them how to love you right. No, what teaches them is when you stop, when you pull away, when you finally show them that their behavior has consequences. The moment you stop letting people mistake your kindness for weakness is the moment you rise into your power. You stop being the person who overgives and underreceives. You stop being the one who absorbs everyone's pain but hides your own. You stop being the one who keeps the peace while others break it. And instead, you choose yourself. You choose your peace. You choose your worth. And in doing so, you remind the world that kindness is not weakness, it is strength, and it is strength that you no longer owe to those who abuse it. You see, people get so comfortable with your presence that they forget it is a choice. They think you'll always be there because you always have been. They think your forgiveness will never run out. Your patience will never break. Your heart will never harden. They take your love and treat it like it's permanent, unshakable, unconditional, when in truth, it's not. Love requires respect. Love requires care. Love requires reciprocation, and the moment those things are missing, love begins to fade, not all at once, but slowly like a flame running out of oxygen, until one day it's gone. And when it's gone, that's when regret comes crashing down on them like a storm. They wake up and realize that the text they ignored will never come again. The calls they declined won't keep ringing. The love they dismissed won't be waiting for them tomorrow. They remember the way you used to laugh at their jokes, the way you made the effort to check in, the way you always cared about the little details of their life. And suddenly those memories aren't comforting anymore. They're haunting, because now they can only replay them. They can't live them again. Regret has a cruel way of magnifying what was once overlooked. They start noticing the small things, the way you said their name, the way you stood by them when everyone else walked away, the way you gave them second chances they didn't deserve. They remember the softness in your voice, the warmth in your energy, the way your presence made the world feel less heavy. And now in your absence, everything feels colder, sharper, emptier. They will look for that feeling in other people, but no one else will be you. No one else will love them the way you did. No one else will give them the depth of care you gave so effortlessly. And that realization breaks them because deep down, they know they ruined it. The truth is, love is not replaceable. You cannot just walk away from someone who truly cared and expect to find that same energy somewhere else. Yes, People can pretend. They can distract themselves. They can surround themselves with new faces, new conversations, new company. But late at night, when the noise fades and they are left with their thoughts, regret speaks the loudest. It whispers, you had something real and you lost it. You had someone rare and you didn't see it. You had love and you let it die. What they don't understand while you're still there is that love is fragile. It may seem endless, but it has limits. You can only neglect it for so long before it withdraws. You can only take without giving before it empties. And once it's gone, there is no bringing it back. That's why the regret is so sharp. Because unlike mistakes that can be fixed, unlike problems that can be solved, losing love is final. Once your heart has closed, once your energy has detached, once your care has stopped, there is no undoing it. And you need to know this. Their regret is not your responsibility. Their pain is not yours to heal. Their longing is not yours to satisfy. For too long, you gave without being valued. For too long, you fought for people who would never fight for you. For too long, you believed that your love would be enough to teach them how to appreciate it. But now, the silence you've given them, the distance you've created, the love you've withdrawn, that is the lesson. And it's a lesson that will follow them forever. Because people can lie to themselves about a lot of things. They can pretend they don't care. They can act like they've moved on. They can distract themselves with new connections. But they cannot escape regret. Regret lives in the quiet spaces. They will regret losing you the moment your love is no longer available, but you will not regret walking away. Because when you finally pull back your energy, you are not losing anything. You are gaining yourself. You are giving yourself the love you once gave so freely to others. You are protecting your heart, your peace, your spirit. And while they drown in regret, you rise in freedom. While they replay the past, you build a future. While they cry over losing you, you smile knowing that you finally chose yourself. And that is the greatest shift of all. Their regret is their punishment. Your peace is your reward, and no matter how much they beg, no matter how much they wish, no matter how deep their regret runs, they cannot undo what has been done. They had your love, and they lost it. Because caring is energy. Every time you give attention, every time you forgive, every time you stay silent just to keep the peace, you are spending energy. And that energy is precious. It's your life force. But when you stop caring about people who don't deserve it, you reclaim that energy for yourself. You no longer waste it on those who drain you. You no longer invest it in connections that only take. You start to notice how much lighter you feel, how much calmer, how much freer. It's like breathing after holding your breath for too long. It's like stepping out of a dark room into the sunlight. You finally feel alive again because you are no longer chained to people who feed off your care but give nothing in return. The shift is powerful because it teaches people a lesson they never expected. They thought you would always be accessible, always soft, always forgiving. But when you stop caring, they're forced to face the reality of who you really are. Someone strong enough to walk away. Someone strong enough to stop explaining, stop defending, stop begging. And that shocks them because they never thought you had it in you. They thought kindness meant weakness. They thought love meant dependence. But no. Your love was never weakness. It was strength. And the moment you stop caring, that strength becomes undeniable. And here's the truth. They will regret it. They will regret not appreciating your care when it was there. They will regret not valuing your consistency when you gave it. They will regret not respecting your energy when you shared it. And while they drown in that regret, you rise. Because when you stop caring, you no longer live for other people's approval. You stop explaining yourself to those who will never understand. You stop waiting for apologies that will never come. You stop begging for love that should have been given freely. You stop all of it. And in stopping, you finally choose yourself. Choosing yourself doesn't mean you become cold or heartless. It doesn't mean you stop being kind. It means you finally set boundaries. It means you finally protect your energy. It means you no longer pour into empty cups. You no longer show up where you are not appreciated. You no longer give second chances to people who keep proving they don't deserve a first. Choosing yourself means your care now flows where it's valued towards your dreams, your healing, your peace, your growth, and the people who truly see your worth. The moment you stop caring about those who don't deserve it is the moment you become unstoppable. Because now your focus is on you. Now your energy is no longer wasted on things that hold you back. Now your love is reserved for places where it can grow instead of places where it dies. And when you step into that power, everything in your life begins to change. You feel more confident. You feel more peaceful. You feel more in control. And others notice it too. They see the glow you carry when you're no longer drained. They see the calm in your energy when you're no longer begging to be valued. They see the strength in your silence, in your boundaries, in your decision to walk away. And that's the irony. They only notice your worth when you stop giving it to them. They only feel the loss when you stop caring. And by then, it's too late. Because once you reclaim your energy, once you choose yourself, once you experience the peace that comes with not caring about the wrong people, you will never go back. You will never let anyone drain you like that again. You will never sacrifice your peace just to be loved. You will never confuse caring with proving your worth. So stop caring about the wrong people and watch how your life transforms. Stop caring about those who don't care about you and watch how your energy rises. Stop caring about the opinions of those who would never fight for you and watch how free you become. Because the truth is, your care is sacred and not everyone deserves access to it. Protect it, value it, honor it, because the day you stop caring about those who don't deserve it is the day you step fully into your power. And once you do, you will never look back.